Hey, welcome back to Disrupt the Pattern. Make sure you follow and subscribe to get notified when new episodes pop up so that you get those right away. In this episode, we're going to be talking about our top 10 affair repellents. You may be wondering what that would include at all, so stick around and we'll share the list we came up with.
Okay, so we want to put this disclaimer out there first that these will help your marriage to be more resistant, but not proof your marriage against unfaithfulness. It's like that waterproof versus water resistant shoes, So just wanted to say that. But so here's our top 10. Okay, top 10 list. This is just, I don't know, off the top of our heads. We didn't prove, like, there's no proven facts. We didn't
do a scientific study or anything.
No. Like that, so but it's good. So don't discredit that. Okay. So number 1 on our top 10, in no particular order.
Right. It's not in order of importance.
Okay. 1 is to talk about your spouse often and with affection. So I read this story in an email that I got from a marriage group, and it was about a guy who was going to the gym, and the gym receptionist was an attractive woman, like a young, attractive woman, and she clearly found him attractive, or was pretending to. I don't know, but he said, she was kind of flirting, and it kind of like, boosted his ego a little bit. He said it felt good at first. But then he kind of like got convicted, and then he's just like, you know what? I've got an attractive wife at home who's a wonderful woman. Like, I need to make sure that this doesn't go any further, and he recognized it. So he started talking about his wife and talking about, like, by name, saying their name and just making it really personal, so that it was like, oh, okay. So he has a wife. He's really enthralled by her and really into her. And so guess what? Put a stop to the flirting. So talk about them often, talk about them affectionately, because who's going to think that they really have a chance with someone, or who's going to like put themselves out there with someone that's just like so into their spouse? I think would be rare.
Yeah,
to say.
Probably.
Maybe.
Number 2, don't have private conversations, whether in person or text or social media or whatever, with the opposite sex about your personal problems. Because emotional affairs are real and they can happen a lot easier than what people think they can. Especially if you start talking about your marital frustrations with them and problems with another man or woman, it just really opens the door for that to happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes quickly.
Right. Well, and like, I know that it may seem like a good idea. Like, well, I'll get, a perspective from another guy or another woman, and maybe they'll help shed some light on things. Right. So we go about it maybe that way. Maybe, totally not thinking about wanting to connect with them emotionally, but honestly, like, their perspective is just going to be imperfect too, and they probably, they may not give you a faith-based answer, which may just point you in the wrong direction, but it's just going to like start those little strings between the two of you.
And sometimes we seek out a person that we think is going to tell us what we want to hear, and maybe form connection with that anyway. Mm-hmm. So not a good idea.
Yeah. Okay. So number 3, hey messages that you get on your phone late at night don't mean that they're just checking on you for your well-being and seeing how you are. Don't answer back. I didn't even know that was a thing. And I'm like, hey, like, why would somebody say, hey? But it's like they're putting out feelers to see how you're going to answer back. Like, it's like you were saying, they're thinking of you late at night and wanting, I don't know what it is, but hey messages, like if a guy just says, hey, don't answer back. Okay.
All right. Number 4, go to things together as much as possible. whether it's school things or church things or community things, because when people see you together all the time, then they know, oh, they're together and things are good and they're strong. But if like one of you is showing up all the time and the other one never is, then people have questions, and that might give them thoughts of things aren't good, whatever, you know.
Well, and it's not like you can always go. Maybe somebody's working late. Like we used to work opposite shifts all the
Yeah.
time, but that was when the kids were younger and didn't have a lot of activities. But, I mean, if you can go together, show up together, be like, it just shows that cohesion and that teamwork. Now, were there some times that we went together and it looked like, it appears, right? Because you said that way they know things are good. Like
Well,
not
that is
everything's
true.
good because you show up together, because there was times where it's just like, you show up together and things aren't very good. But it's that consistency. It's just that, okay, we're committing to being together. We're going to be a team, even if we don't feel like playing on the same team right now, right? So showing up, showing that partnership.
Yes.
I like that. Good job.
Thanks. Number 5, watch what you wear. And we don't need to give statistics on this, but guys are way more visual than girls are. So booty shorts, necklines that meet the bottom of your shirt, painted on clothing are just asking for the wrong attention from men other than your husband. So not a good idea. Does it feel good to be noticed and like boost your ego? Like, oh, they think I'm hot. Of course. But those feelings are just temporary. And then you find yourself looking for them again because it felt good the first time. And maybe you're not getting that affirmation at home. And then that turns into a bigger deal because then you're like, these people like me. Why doesn't, and it's just going to cause problems.
Right. Because that attention, like, we want to be attractive. We don't want to look like dog. You don't want to look terrible. And, there's some religious groups that would say that's why we shouldn't wear makeup and we should wear plain clothing or, skirts to the floor and stuff like that. But like, okay, we don't need to go that far. We don't have to. You can if you want to. Great for you. But I mean, like, let's be honest. And sometimes I would say, think about what you would want your daughter to wear. And yet,
people let their daughters wear stuff they
we
shouldn't.
Yeah, like middle school dance a few weeks ago, it was like, okay, I guess people do let their daughters wear that. So, yeah.
And we all know there's a difference between people thinking, oh, they look nice, and then thinking other thoughts because there's too much showing and like,
yeah,
it's different.
Right. But we talked about, like, especially if you aren't getting that affirmation at home, that you're more likely to like seek it out somewhere else, which brings us to the next point, number 6, compliment one another daily. If we doubt that we're appreciated at home, if we doubt that they find us attractive, that we're noticed, that we're needed and valued at home, it's going to affect us more when we find that from someone else, or when we start getting that affirmation from someone else. That's going to affect us more than if things were great at home and somebody's like, hey, we'd be like, oh, okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, say what's on your mind. We should do this for everybody. I teach my kids to compliment people too. Like, everyone needs to be more complimentary of people. Like, if you think their sweater looks nice, tell them. Now, don't be creepy about it though. And the whole opposite sex thing, like, let's be honest, it can get weird. But especially in the home, your kids, your spouse compliment a lot. Yes. More praise over negativity.
Never going to be a bad thing to do that. Number 7. Don't spend alone time with other men or women, depending on which you are, if you don't have to. There's hardly ever really a reason that you would need to be spending a lot of one-on-one time with someone of the opposite sex that I can think of.
Well, I was thinking like sometimes like workplace stuff, like.
Yeah.
I know conferences people have to go to, or, stuff where it's just like, I don't know, it just happens, but you can refuse to go to that stuff too. You can just say like, it's not going to work with my schedule, or just be honest and say, I'd feel more comfortable with, another woman or man there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, spending time with somebody, oh, they're my friend, it may not seem like a big deal, but just friends can always develop into something else without planning it to or anything. And what may seem like not a big deal to you may be a big deal to your spouse. And they may be thinking, why in the world are they spending this time with this person when they could be spending time with me or whatever, however that looks.
Right. So, I mean, I know that there's some relationships, like I had some high school friends that they were really, really close to a guy all throughout high school. They didn't date though, but I don't know how that looks like now. I think they're not even in the people that I'm thinking of aren't in the same vicinity, like together. So either way, it's like it's time for relationships to change though, when you get into marriage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yay. You might have been BFFs when you weren't married, but now it's leave and cleave from your friends too, not just your parents. Like it's showing that person your commitment and your respect to just.
Guess what? You chose a new BFF.
Right.
So.
Right. And we are BFFs. We are. Okay. Number 8, feel free to be rude to people coming on to you. Okay. Like don't act flattered or positively affected, and don't feel obligated to be nice, and like, oh, thank you. Put them in their place. If it's weird, like, I don't know, maybe there is some nice old man that's just like, that is a very nice blouse on you, or something like that. You don't have to chew them out. But ladies and gentlemen, when somebody's like legitimately trying to make a pass at you. So put them in their place. And, if they feel like they have an inch, they'll push it to a mile. So just like, yeah, please don't say that. So there it is. Be rude on occasion.
Justifiably rude.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So number 9, try going to bed at the same time together as much as possible, because otherwise you're up late at night by yourself, and it opens the door to those text conversations we talked about earlier, or watching something you shouldn't, or, there's just not a lot good reason to not just go to bed together. I mean, if you're working different shifts and overnights and stuff, that's another topic altogether. But as much as you can, go to bed together.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Literally, because you dream in bed. Okay. Oh, that's you. Number 10.
Oh, I'm number 10.
He gets number 10.
Go to church together. It's a lot harder for problems to come up when the two of you are like in sync with going to church, worshiping together, growing spiritually together. I mean, God is supposed to be number 1, so make him number 1 together. Also, it'll give you some accountability with other good Christian friends and all that kind of stuff. And that's always good. Good influence is always good.
Right.
And a wall can really form between you if Sarah's really into church and she's really growing spiritually and she's on fire for God, and I'm just like, I'm not really into that right now. It's not gonna help our relationship to do that, because like we said, God is like the glue for our relationship anyway. So we need to tap into him together. Right. And
it is hard. Like, even if it's not spiritual growth, like just growing apart, like personal growth, spiritual growth, like emotional growth, like all areas of growth. If you're only doing it, if only one of you is doing it, like it's kind of like running a race and leaving the other person way behind. You can't enjoy the victories and the experience together. So number 10. Okay. So That's the last of our list, but it's the last of our list. So if for you guys watching on YouTube, if you would do us a favor and share some ideas in the comments below, add to the list. Tell us some other things that you would add to that. If you are listening on podcast, then you can click in the description below. There's a link that you can get on our email list, and then you can write us an email with your ideas. We'd love to add to the list. And then we'd also love if you'd subscribe, leave an honest review. But the subscribing and following, that'll get you those little notifications when we have a new episode pop up. So share this with somebody, add a screenshot on your social of of the podcast or YouTube. Like, just spread the word. We'd love to keep growing this. And your support is what's going to keep us on here and keep growing. So we appreciate you being here a lot.
So till next time, stay authentic and disrupt those patterns.